This is the Stop Rambling session. And actually, this was really timely because I was just on vacation. I was talking to another friend who went on a vacation. And I said, "Oh, how was your trip?" And she said, "Oh, it was really good. But one of the issues we had, we were supposed to go on Friday and we left and we had a connecting flight in Panama and we were supposed to go to Costa Rica. And but then, gosh, was that Friday or Saturday? So anyway, we weren't sure. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, like I want to know how the vacation was, not how the flight was. And all you're getting are all these details and unnecessary information about the flight. Anybody seen this before? Anybody find folks going and looking into and just explaining and blabbering on about things that aren't really important? Happens all the time in sales engineering and sales. That's me. There you go, Laura. So we've done it, right? We've all done it. So who is this session for? This is for anybody who wants to tell better stories about their vacations. No, but really who this is for sales reps. It's for sales engineers. It's for anybody in customer success, consulting. It's for marketers. This is really for anybody that is in a client service role. And I say that because I've spent my entire career in client service roles. So if you don't know me, I've been a consultant, a sales engineer, a sales rep. Now I run a training company that teaches the entire go-to-market, hence Alpha Go-to-Market. What this is for is communicating more clearly and more concisely, ultimately more simply. So we're going to go through this bit today, and I'm going to give you 3 frameworks. Number 1 is going to help you explain processes more simply. Number 2 is going to help you explain products more simply, which many of you have to do in your typical job that you're probably holding here. And the third one is going to help you to answer questions more simply. So those are the 3 things you're going to get out of today. So with that, if you haven't seen me speak before, there is going to be a lot of interaction. So get ready for chat. Get ready also for a poll. So what I've got up on screen is a Menti, and you can go ahead and scan this barcode, and it's going to take you to Menti, and we're going to get this kicked off with some poll questions because I like to know who we have in the audience, because that will allow me to tailor this more specifically to your all's needs. So who do we got here? I'm going to go ahead and share up our Menti. Got a lot of pre-sale. Nice, a lot of enablement here. I love that. What else here? Pre-sales leaders. Good, we've got the leaders here. I've got some exercises and games that you all can play with your team. A lot of pre-sales enablement. Nice. Shout out for my sales reps. Love it. The best thing I did was go into sales, and that is a former sales engineer and consultant speaking. We got PS and services. Love it. You guys make it all happen based on the promises that we as sales reps make. Let's see here. Enablement, sales, PS, other. If you're other, drop it in the chat. Curious. Marketing, something else. Let's see. All righty. Our next one, I want to know, how long have you been doing this? Because it's important. Our skills are going to change and adapt over time. I'm curious what our tenure of folks is here. It's like we've got, wow, a lot of really tenured people. This is awesome. So 5+ years category, over 30 people. Fantastic. The content that I'm talking about today helps you the more experienced you get in your profession. In fact, I do a longer version of this type of training in my on-sites. I had one where the average age of this team, they were highly experienced solution architects, and they were probably around like 48, 49 average age. I had a 63-year-old tell me this was the most valuable training he's ever been through. So the more experienced you are, the more valuable this type of stuff is. because I don't know about you all, but it's easy to put more information in a brain. It's a lot harder to go and cut that information from our brain. Good stuff. Let's see this. Have you seen me speak before, either a virtual session like this or live? I'm curious. No. Okay, this is perfect. So this will be new material for many of you. If you have seen me virtually, I did a similar webinar to this with home run pre-sales a few months back. We're going to review some concepts there. So if you're there for the second time, this is great because the way that you learn is through repetition. All the newbies, thank you. Thanks for coming out here. I'm looking forward to delivering some value here. Would love your follow on LinkedIn. I put out a lot of content very similar to this there. So welcome both new and experienced veterans here. You vets, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming back. All right, where do you live? Pin it on the map. Let's see. So I had some folks calling in. Last time I had somebody right in the middle of the Indian Ocean. It was quite wild. Looks like we got some on the border here. Canada, US. Oh yeah, UK crew. Looks like maybe Germany or Belgium there. Down south, maybe Mexico, we'll see. Island, maybe SoCal, good stuff. Some right in the middle of Africa, I love it. Yeah, I just did a training for, gosh, we had the USA, we had France, we had India, China, Korea, and Japan. So folks from all over the place. Those Easterners are probably sleeping at this point. Okay, next one. What are things that consultants and salespeople do that annoy you? I want to hear it. And there's 3 options here. You can put in 1, you can put in 2, you can put in 3, and then just hit submit if you're on your phone there. I'm curious. We get this information. Have fun, grow, work. Oh, here we go. This is no, wait, let's see. Learn, meeting. This is probably what you were hoping to get out of the session. Let's see. I clicked forward a little too quickly. Ramble, let's see. Sell, talk too much, teach, skip straight to the demo, speak without knowledge, talk too much, false promise, use unnecessary jargon. Yeah, that one annoys me too. Let's see. Too salesy. Yes, agreed. Right? You want to sell, but you don't want to be salesy. That's my motto here. Rambling, saying not engaging on the call, assuming. Yeah, great stuff here. All right, and then the last bit, just curious, what are you hoping to get out of this session? Some of you may have actually already put some of this in here on the last question since I jumped forward, but what are you hoping to get out of this? Inspiration, concise authority. Yeah, you will build authority here. Knowledge, cookies. I love it. Let's see here. Inspiration to do better. Tips to share with my team. You will absolutely get that. We're going to give you 3 things right from there. Leadership. Yeah. Leaders listen first and then they speak. Being less verbose. Brevity. Discipline. Thought leadership. Tactics to shut up. Amen, baby. I love it. All right. Good stuff. So there's a lot of stuff coming in here. Thanks for sharing. We are going to definitely deliver on these things. And what I'm going to do now is talk a little bit about my background so you know where some of this is coming from. So how many of you have a consultant background? Go ahead and drop it in the chat. Consultants or engineers, if you're one of them, go ahead and drop it in the chat. And then while we're doing that, I'm curious, does anyone know what happens when you mix a consultant with an engineer? Go ahead, drop it in the chat. I'm curious. Big brain energy, Ashley O'Connor. I love it. Cold fusion, Tyler. Ian, you get Rue. Yeah. An engineer that thinks beyond the numbers. I like it. Know it all. Exactly, Kenyon. That's it. You become a congeneer. I like that. Big ego. Nailed it. Huge. It's brutal. I train sales reps and sales engineers, and I say that sales engineers are way harder because being a sales engineer, our ego is usually a lot bigger. So smart. Less hair. Yes, exactly. Very technical. Okay. So here's what it was for me. Having that background, this is what it resulted in. Blah, 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 blah. Talking way too much. I'm an engineer. I became a consultant. I became a sales engineer. I became a sales rep. The way that I developed a lot of these concepts is moving into sales directly. So I will give you some of these things that really helped me as a sales rep. And it's because I failed. I was not super effective in the first year that I was there. And then I became a top performing sales rep. So what I'm going to talk about today will help you with any go-to-market role. So here's where we're going. I want you to drop in the chat. When is your next team event? There were some folks that said they wanted lessons for their team. So when's your next team event? Go ahead and drop it in the chat. And while we do that, today, here, wonderful. Yeah, love it. Mid-May. Today. Good. So folks that say today, if it is later today, we've got something that you can play with your team later today if there's time on your schedule. And we have a very lovely volunteer here who is going to come up on stage and play a little game with us. And his name is Mr. Tom. So Tom, thank you for joining us here. Tom, you may have an idea of what you're signing up for, but we're going to give you a question here. We're going to get you back to your acting days. Actually, tell the team. We're curious about this. I don't think everybody knows this about this. Tell us about your background here, Tom.
Yeah, I was a professional actor for 10 years in the West End. And then I realized that I could make more money selling software than I could acting. So that's what I ended up doing.
Oh, it's awesome. So if you missed Tom, Tom did a presentation or was emceeing the Demis a few months back, and it was one of the best performances I've ever seen. So yeah, if you ever want some entertainment, you got to check out Tom's stuff. So Tom's going to play this game with me, and this is a game that you all can repeat in your next meeting with your team. So I just call the game 60, 30, 15, 5. And you're going to see in a second why it's called 60, 30, 15, 5. Now, Tom, what we're going to need you to do is I'm going to give you about 60 seconds, and I've got a timer here going. And what I want you to do, Tom, is I want you to just tell the audience what or how does consensus help customers? Tell us just a little bit about how consensus helps customers. And you've got about 60 seconds we're going to give you to tell us. Here's your sales pitch on consensus. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Okay, so we realized that obviously buying and selling software is really hard. So we created the world's first product experience platform, and we started off in demo automation. So we created the demo automation space over 10 years ago, and we've now redefined that space into product experience. And with product experience, we have our core on-demand video demos, which allows your customers to experience the video part of your product, and you can talk to them about the why. Simon Sinek always says people buy the why first, and then the what and the how, and then you can show them the what and the how with product tools, interactive product tools, which what you can do is you can mimic the API of your product, and you can then play this back. And then we also have product sandboxes as well. And the product sandboxes, the interactive product simulations, give you much more sort of control over, allowing them to experience real world, maybe take the guide rails off. And we do this to help you sell in the time that you're not in the room with the customer. And I've already gone over. I'm rambling. Sorry.
That's it. So I heard a lot of different things there. So different features, different components of the platform. Looked like it was a little over 60. You weren't too bad. I think you were at 68 seconds or something like that. So good stuff. Thank you for that, Tom. So now, Tom, we're gonna have you do that again, okay? And Tom, I'm only gonna give you 30 seconds now to tell us how consensus helps customers. So could you give us the 30-second pitch on that, please?
Yeah, so Consensus is the world's first product experience platform. And effectively, we take complex B2B buying and we transform it into easy interactive buying experiences. And we do this with interactive on-demand video, interactive product tours, and also product simulations to make the customer's buying journey easier.
Nailed it. Nice. In 25 seconds, you beat it. Great work there, Tom. Okay. Really tight. Everybody notice just how much more tight, clear, concise that was. Really well done. All right, Tom. I think you know where we're going next here. Tom, we're going to have to cut it yet again. I'm going to need to hear in 15 seconds how Consensus helps customers. Go.
So Consensus is the world's first product experience platform. And what we do is we take a very hard buying and selling journey and we effectively make it easier. So we transform hard B2B sales into easy buying experiences.
Nailed it. Awesome. And I got a little started a little bit. You're pretty much right at 15 seconds. Great work. All right. Now, Tom, this is the tough one. We are down to clap the hands right here, right? Brad, Kelly, this is sweet. This is a fun game to play with the team. Tom, we're going to give you 5 seconds to tell us about Consensus. You can give me the thumbs up and I'll start the timer.
Buying and selling software is really hard. Consensus makes it easier.
Boom. 3 seconds. Killed it. Buying and selling is hard. Consensus makes it easy. Awesome work there. Thank you, Tom. All right, round of applause here for Tom. Thank you, Tom. So this is Dustin. I love that. You can never get Andy Bernard and we'll never get old. Okay, so that is just a fun game that you can go and play with your team in your next team meeting. And I recommend doing it more than once because it is so easy. I saw Andy Spencer make a comment about a minute being, it can be so long and it can be so short. It doesn't feel long to you when you're speaking for a while, but it does feel long to your prospect. So that's why this is a really good reminder. I had Sydney Gomez and mentioned that she did this with her team recently, and it was, it's usually a love-hate relationship. We do it, we can do it, but it's a quick realization that, oh man, we probably got to cut down on what we talk about here. So we're going to move this along and get into the next bit here. That's your freebie game that you can use at any point. If you don't know me, I do sales training, both pre-sales and sales, and I do these workshops all over the world, and I also do them virtually. So if you're interested in that in the future, let me know. But these are fun activities and games you can play everywhere. Now, in addition to do that, I'm an engineer, and so I like data and I like research. So some of the research that we do is understanding buying behaviors and things that frankly annoy our clients. To mention what Doug had said in the prior session, what I'm trying to do is remove all the friction out of the sales cycle, the bad friction, so that you can ultimately get clients to make a decision. Now, I don't really care if they buy or not, which might sound a little weird coming from a salesperson. I'm more concerned with, can I help them get to a decision more quickly? So what we're trying to do here is we polled executives, managers, and individual contributors, not sales reps, buyers, and we asked, what are the top things that consultants and salespeople do that annoy you? Because these create friction and remove the amount of time, or they increase the amount of time it takes a client to decide, which means your sales cycles are going longer. Now, these are some of the things that we heard. And if this isn't something for you, I want you to drop in the chat. Yeah, what do we got here? What are things that annoy you? If talking too much is something that annoys you, drop it in the chat. Give me a thumbs up. Let's see. Let's see what folks have. Talking too much. How about this one here? Over-explaining. Anyone? Yeah, we got embellishers. Yes, Mark Noble. Good stuff. How about this one? Not directly answering my yes or no question with a yes or no. Anyone else? It depends, Kate. Exactly. Extra words. How about not being concise? Too much sales speak. Love that. Wasting my time. So these are all things that annoy buyers. And my background is I typically sold really complicated tech, and engineering and IT were often involved. The number one thing that annoys engineers is wasting their time. It annoys most people, but it really annoys people that are efficiency minded. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 3 ways to stop rambling and be more clear and concise. We're going to first talk about explaining processes, then we're going to talk about explaining products, then we're going to talk about answering questions. So here's what we have. Drop in the chat, have you ever heard of the rule of 3? Yes, no, maybe. What do we got? Yes. In the Coast Guard, love it. Yes, we got a yes, yes, yes. 3. Andy, well done here. Yes, yes, yes. No, hand up. Yes, but confirming. Yes, in terms of cake. Yeah, oh, I mean, why not? Let's do it. Cake. Yes. Okay. So here's the idea of the rule of 3. This is typically associated with marketing, but it has very relevant things when it comes to sales. The rule of 3 is this concept around the human brain has a really difficult time remembering more than 3 things. However, 3 kind of happens to be a magic number in life. And it is, you'll see it everywhere now that I've mentioned it, if you haven't already. But it's the ABCs, Do, Re, Mi, the 3 Stooges, the 3 Wise Men, the 3 Amigos, Chevy Chase movie, and Steve Martin. It's all over the place, and you're going to see 3, 3, 3. If you look at a lot of marketing or product messaging websites, they'll usually list 3 things. I learned when I was growing up the 5-paragraph essay. What did it have? An intro, 3 supporting body paragraphs, and a conclusion. So it's all over the place. But it's also really, really effective for sales. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the rule of 3, and I'm also going to introduce a brevity framework that I call the CCC. Now, I'm not going to tell you what CCC means right now. You're going to actually see it in action. So if you want, you can play along with me in this, and I'm going to start drawing up or writing up all of the steps that are involved in an enterprise sales process. So this B2B buying journey, it's really complicated. Gartner says it takes forever. There's 6 to 10 decision makers. There's tons of steps in this thing. So we're going to go and first list out what are all the steps in this B2B buying journey. And so if you're on chat here, or if you want to do it yourself, go for it. But let's start listing these out. Go ahead, drop in the chat. What are some of the steps in a B2B buying journey? I want to hear every single one of them, and I'm going to write them up on the screen as you're saying it. We got discovery here. Good stuff. Qualification. Research. Demo. Contract signature. Proof of concept, scoping, RFP, I'll say proposal along with that, prep, quantify success, value, ROI, closing, business case, negotiation. Somebody said that earlier and I missed it. All right. Yes, Mark Noble, just put that pen in your offhand and then write backwards. It's like the double negative. You're good to go. Present and resell channel. Yep, channel. Let's see. Executive buy-in. Yeah, hey, Lindsay. Awareness. Yeah, so there's a lot of steps, right? And we don't have to do all of them, but the goal of this is we want to just show how complicated this process is. Now, actually, hey, Tom. Tom, can you come back up on stage real quick? I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Tom, so Tom, we're going to pretend right now that I'm a sales rep or a sales engineer. And Tom, yeah, I want you to play the buyer, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Tom, I want to tell you about this awesome new tool. All right. And this tool is fantastic. It makes B2B buying journeys way simpler and removes friction. And this is a fantastic tool. And I can tell you all about it. And all we need to do is go through a 16-step process for you to understand if this is going to be valuable for you. So we'll organize these in the right order, but yeah, how do you feel about, I'll just walk you through all 16 of these steps, and then you can see if this will work for you. Do you want to take a look at this software, Tom?
No, not to be honest, Rue. The whole reason I came to you is I want to make my life easier, not harder. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
haven't
mean
got
it's
time to spend it in 16 steps, 16
oh,
stages.
okay. So it's all right, 16 steps that
And plus, it's not
yeah.
just me making this. I've got other people involved as well. I'm assuming everyone's got
Mm,
to be involved in this, Rue.
yeah. Okay. All right. You know what? Thank you, Tom. You know what? It sounds like this is not an option here. We'll
No, I think I'm going to go to another competitor. Thanks a lot.
okay. Thank you, Tom. All right. So if you walk up to somebody and you walk them through this whole process that they have to go to, who is ever in their right mind going to actually want to go through this? No one. But we do it all the time. We go and we talk about each and every step within the process. Have you ever seen a mutual action plan? Half the time they go and scare the client away. So, what we want to do is we want to simplify this. Now, I'm going to introduce a new framework that you all can use whenever you have 16-step processes or 8-step processes. Or let's say you're just given a PowerPoint slide like a lot of AEs do, or SEs may even do before they get into feature demos. And when they're going through those features, how many of you have 5 or 6 or 8 different things listed on the slide? It's not uncommon because you're selling complicated platforms. So what we're going to introduce is this framework called the CCC. All right. This stands for cut, categorize, and combine. Now, this is where I need your all's help here. The first thing that we're going to do is I want to cut anything from this list that you think is probably not relevant for me to talk about with Tom if I were to tell Tom, hey, we're going to take you through this process to buy things. So what are some things that, okay, maybe they're relevant, but if I'm talking to Tom and we just want to see if he wants to evaluate this, what are some things that we could potentially cut here? Prep. Yeah, Mark, right? That's stuff that we do on our end. So we can cut prep. What else can we cut here? Cut. Negotiation. Yeah, it's going to happen, right? RFP. Yeah, I think a lot of us would be happy, Charles, if we cut RFP. Would anybody be excited if RFP was cut here? Yes, David. Here you go, Michael. 5, 4, and 14 is all you need here. Yeah, qualification, discovery, value. Yeah, nailed it, right? So a lot of this stuff, value, right? This is something that it's sort of implicit. So for the sake of this exercise, I'm just going to cut a few of these. I'm going to cut the RFP. I'm going to cut the prep. We don't have to talk to Tom about that and say, oh, Tom, before this, we're going to do our prep. I hope you're going to do your prep before this. All right. How about what are things that we can, here's the second C, what are things that you think maybe we could combine? Is there anything here that is related that you think we could combine together? What do folks think? Contract and closing, disco and qualification, closing, and you know what? I'm going to do this, closing and contract. And then we can delete this. What else we got here? Value and ROI, agreed. So we'll combine them. Demo and POC, right? Isn't that sort of the same thing? It's proof, Ashley. Ideally, you go for the lowest cost form of proof, which if it can be a demo, great. Value, ROI, and quantify. Yeah, let's do that. Let's add in quantifying in here. So we can get rid of another. You see what's happening here, right? We're cutting this down very quickly. Let's see. Put quantify in 14. Yes, excellent. So we got discovery and qualification. Probably shouldn't do a slash, probably should do a plus there. Let's hear. Scoping goes to discovery. Yes, could definitely do that. Could be scoping after after discovery, after interest when it comes to implementation, but you never know here. ROI, yeah, let's see here. So we've got, how about business case? Do we think we can maybe put business case in the value and quantify? I think we can make that move. Okay, and now our last one, are there things that we can categorize? So is there a category or a label that we could give to any one of these things? I saw Lindsay Elliott add awareness, right? Or is there something that we can call some of these in terms of categories that would even further simplify it? Let's see. Closing, contracting. What's a category we could put for closing, for contracting, for negotiation? We could probably use one of those words directly, yeah? Buying, yeah. Agreement, decision. So if we had decision, we could probably go and throw in executive buy-in, negotiation, closing, contracting. Negotiation, contract, close. Okay. Any other categories we've got here? How about some of the other things that are remaining here? Scoping, value, ROI, quantify business case, research, demo, POC. What do folks think? Any other categories we could give here? Discover, I like that, right? Because you could probably put in research, discovery, qualification, validation. Greg Dow, I love that. Proof, right? Proof. In proof, you could probably put together demo / POC, the value, the ROI, the business case. So you see what we did here. We've effectively taken discovery out of the mix, moved it over here. Research, demos and POCs are the proof. We can scope things out, probably in discovery or in proof, and we can do the business case. So let's see here. Hey, Tom, you know, it's a year later. Hopefully you don't remember me. Hopefully you don't remember the first Rue Dickinson that showed up that was trying to sell you this groovy new product called Consensus. Tom, you know, buying software is difficult. We've got a great tool for it. We could show it to you. It would just involve a little bit of discovery to understand how you're currently working with your business. We can show you some proof with some demos, and then if you're interested, you can make a decision and we can move forward. Would that be of interest to you?
That sounds much better. True. Yeah, it sounds like a very simple process. I'm happy to go with that.
There you go. So I'm an engineer. I will tell you that the CCC framework is one of the most valuable things that I have come across in my life. And I kind of developed it based on the rule of three and some other things. In fact, I've got a really good friend who's a sales trainer. After I gave this presentation a few months back, he said, "Oh man, you have me completely rethinking my demo or my my demo fest presentation. I just need to CCC." So this works for even experienced folks. Try this out. If you find that you are rambling or you're over explaining a process, just use the CCC and you can very easily simplify all of the information to the buyer. Now, I want you to drop in the chat, where could you potentially use the CCC or the rule of three in your job? Because some of you are sales reps, some of you are sales engineers, some of you are marketers. There are others. Where can you use this yourself? And yes, CCC, Mark, was cut, categorize, combine. Nailed it, Ariel. Where can you use this? Greg, demo prep. Absolutely. Mark, metrics. Good stuff. Demo prep enablement, 101 to 201 to 301. Yes. And the more experienced you get, the more valuable this will be. Deal planning. Love it. Good stuff. So that has worked wonders for me. We are going to do a quick summary on that. Everywhere, yeah. Meetings. Oh, Michaela, wonderful to see you. Meetings, objectives, demos. So to stop rambling, you want to use the rule of three and you want to use CCC, cut, categorize, combine. I can tell you this works wonders. Is one of the most high value things you can do in sales, because once you're in implementation, they kind of have to do everything. When you're in sales, the client can walk away at any point. So that's your tip for explaining processes more simply. We're going to get into explaining products more simply. So I want you to drop in the chat here. Does anyone tell me what is Salesforce? Go ahead, just drop it in the chat. What's Salesforce? Can we tell our leaders Rue said so? Yeah, sure. They'll probably say, who's Rue? What's Salesforce? Cloud CRM, a time waster. Yes, Brad. Oh man, I was not loved for my Salesforce hygiene. Yeah, CRM. Okay, but what does CRM mean, right? Kind of a big mess. Nailed it, Tim. It's the worst. Yeah, it's expensive. All right, so here's ChatGPT, who could definitely use a lesson in CCC and rule of three. Because I don't know about you, but I don't really want to read this. I can already tell. Salesforce is a cloud-based customer relationship management platform that helps businesses manage their interactions with customers. Boring. All right. Way too much information. This would take way more than 60 seconds to talk about, and nobody has time for this. So ChatGPT needs to learn CCC. You could probably teach it CCC and then have it run through, but this is all I hear when I see this stuff. This is a way simpler framework for you. If somebody asks what your product does or what your feature does or whatever it is, this is a very simple framework that you can use. And hint, you already saw me use it. This comes directly from Seth Godin, one of the best marketers ever. He wrote tons of books, bestsellers. They're fantastic. You should read everything by him. He has this framework. He just says, who's it for? What's it for? That's all people want to know. They want to know who's it for and what's it for. So you saw me do this when I started the session. I said, who's this for? And I said, anybody in client service. And what's it for? It's for communicating more clearly and concisely. Stop talking about how your product works and all the features and functions. Just say who's it for and what's it for. And I'm going to give you an example because you can use this on your spouse, on your friend, on your mom or dad when they ask, oh, what does your software do? Or what do you do for a living? All right. So it's just who's it for and what's it for. So this is what Salesforce's original example was. All right. And it's just bleh. This is who's it for and what's it for. Salesforce is software for sales reps. What's it for? It allows them to track all their deals in one place. Now you can change the who's it for and what's it for based on the person you're talking to. The reality is Salesforce isn't made for sales reps. It's made for sales managers to keep track of their sales reps. Let's be honest. So who's it for? You could just as easily say Salesforce is for managers to track what their sales reps are doing. Way easier explanation than what you just saw from ChatGPT. Now, go ahead, drop in the chat. Where do you think you can apply the who's it for and what's it for in your business? What you're doing right now as a sales rep, a sales engineer, a consultant, someone in professional services. Where can you use this who's it for, what's it for framework? Meeting agendas. Yes. Product, Raja. Immediately. Rich, great to see you. Elevator pitch. Absolutely. This is a great one. If you're doing the 60, 30, 15, 5 exercise, just who's it for, what's it for? This you can do in about 3 seconds. So you can get that done in under that 5 second. Prospecting, content and messaging. Yeah, huge for marketers here. BDR, disco and qualification. This is the ticket. Who's it for? What's it for? It's fantastic. You find yourself rambling or over communicating or spending way too much time writing that email. Who's it for? What's it for? Fantastic. Give you another example. So I'm a former developer, so I've got a really kind of technical background, and I work with a lot of companies that have really technical sales engineers. And we help them just simplify all the brilliance that is in their brain. So I asked, what is Kubernetes? And anybody know what Kubernetes is? Do we have any developers in the house? Former folks? Let's see. Who doesn't love a good Kubernetes? Yeah, well, like a wild word, right? Helmsman, Greek, all sorts of, we just love complicated stuff when we are, yes, Kenyon, K8. All right, again, this is I don't understand that. If I tried to explain Kubernetes to my mom or dad, they'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So who's it for? What's it for? It's for software developers. It automates deployment and a bunch of management of the containers. So typically what you see from ChatGPT and others is it's a container orchestration platform and you're like, what is container? What is orchestration? It's terrible. Just who's it for? What's it for? Works wonders. All right, so there's another lesson you've learned already. Processes, rule of 3 and CCC. For products, who's it for, what's it for? Now we're going to get into the last one, and this is answering questions. So the question I have for you is, what is a sales engineer's favorite answer to a question? Go drop it in the chat. Yes, Truck. Let's see. It depends. Yes. Steve, I like that answer. I like David. Yeah, yes is good. It depends, Dustin. You nailed it, right? It is always, it depends. So that's our favorite answer. Now, here's your next question. What is the least valuable answer to a question for your prospect? Maybe. It depends. Yeah. It depends. It depends. It depends. I would agree. I don't know, actually, is not great either. It depends. Yeah, it depends is not a helpful answer to your prospects. And I'll give you an example of this because I used to say it religiously. Now, there's a few reasons why we do this. Number one, it's the truth, right? I'm not arguing that. It does almost always depend. Number two, if any of you are like me, if you're an engineer, you don't like being wrong. Like, I just don't like being wrong. It's not fun. I don't look forward to it. And the nice thing about it depends is you kind of can't be wrong because you never took an opinion to begin with. But this is how it impacts your sales. You're going, you're moving along and you're getting in your first meeting, your intro meeting, and now the customer is interested and you get to a point where the customer is really interested in buying. So what you do is they'll go and they start to ask these implementation type questions. They'll say, how long does implementation take? Or how do you integrate with our backend systems? Or these complicated it depends answers, right? And if you're really smart and you're in pre-sales or pre-sales leadership, you probably go and you say, well, we can integrate a lot of different ways. It depends. We can use REST-based APIs or SOAP-based APIs, or we can use middleware like IBM or MuleSoft. Or you could go, if it's a nighttime process, you can run it at night in a batch process to upload a flat file that goes with text and then is read by. And then there's some other options for older systems. And meanwhile, the customer's like, I have no idea what is going on right now. And if you're trying to move this sale forward, you can't do that anymore because now they're worried and they're like, what am I going to do? So what they usually do is they go, you know what, maybe we should bring in Rick, our enterprise architect. And I don't know about you guys, but Rick is usually not the nicest guy. He's this enterprise architect that just loves pontificating about all the different options that you can use for integrations. And he's a detail-oriented guy, and he gets into the weeds. And so then Rick has a meeting with you, and then he probably has another follow-up meeting because every time you say something, he wants to research it more. And now you've got 3 additional meetings with Rick when really the question was just an implementation question. Now, this is brutal. You can see here that this is just going to add more and more time to your sales cycle. And then you're finally going to get back on it and you continue along. So is it depends the wrong answer? No, I'm not saying that. However, there are much better alternatives to saying it depends for every single thing. And I'll give you an example of this. I've got a friend in Boston. He's a VP of finance. He was evaluating software, and he was evaluating Oracle and a smaller competitor. And I said, so which one did you buy? He said, Oracle. And I said, why? He said, you know, Rue, I really didn't actually want to buy Oracle. And I said, then how come you did? He said, the solutions engineering experience, the pre-sales experience. I said, tell me a little bit more about that. I typically train pre-sales folks. And he said, well, the one from Oracle, we would ask a question because we just weren't sure how we would go and configure the system and kind of set things up for our business needs. And he said, we would generally say, well, if I was in your shoes, I would do X, Y, and Z. He's like, and the sales engineer from the other company, they would say, you know, you have a lot of options. You can figure it a few different ways. It depends. And there's a lot of flexibility. And he told me that he ended up going with Oracle solely because he felt more confident with that sales engineer. And so I said, let me get this straight. Like, was price an issue? No, it wasn't an issue at all. I said, okay, here's the telltale. If that sales engineer from Oracle was on the smaller competitor's team, would you have picked that product? And he said yes, which is proof now that sales engineers are pretty darn important to the success of a deal. But if you have loosey-goosey answers and you say it depends and you try to let the client figure it out all by themselves, they're not going to do it, and they're just going to go with the safe choice. So I'm not advocating lying, and I'm not advocating not telling the truth here on it depends, but there are much better alternatives, and we are going to talk about them. So here are just 3. There's many more. When I do longer training and in-depth training with my clients, we talk about this a lot. You can say, that's a great question. Why do you ask? So if Tom asks me, hey, how do you integrate with our backend systems? I would say, that's a great question. Why do you ask? Or I would say, I could answer that a couple of different ways. Why do you ask? Or I could say, could you give me some context behind why you ask? Or I could say, how are you integrating with your backend systems currently? And they might go and say, well, we're using APIs or we're using MuleSoft. Great, you can continue to use that. So these are just ways to ask a question back. If you get something around implementation, how long does implementation take? You can ask, are you on a specific timeline that you have to meet? Yeah, we've got to get something live in 3 months. Cool. Based on that, I would recommend a phased approach where we can get you live within 2 months and then we can deliver the rest of the implementation afterwards. So there are great alternatives to it depends. This is just really going to slow down your sales cycle, and you're not going to notice it because the client's never going to tell you they're confused. They're just not going to decide to do anything. And then your sales rep is sitting there waiting to try to get to the next meeting. So these are some recaps, some lessons learned here. I give you 3 frameworks that you can use: the rule of 3 and the CCC to combine, the answering who's it for and what's it for, and the alternatives to saying it depends. Usually it's asking another question. Now I'm going to pull Tom back up here. Tom, let's see if you can use one of those frameworks here for the 5-second version of, let's see, how does consensus help customers? Could you just give us how consensus helps customers? And you can use any framework you want, but I think the one you had before was good. It was, what is the problem you're solving, right? Who is this for? So Tom, can you give us a 5-second pitch on consensus here?
Consensus helps buyers buy software easily.
Boom, mic drop. Thank you, Tom. You see that, right? Who's it for? What's it for? Salespeople or buyers buy software more easily. Great stuff. So we have a couple of things in terms of what's next. We've got a booth set up in the virtual session here. You can click on the top to go check that out. Stop by the booth if you'd like. There's a quick video there. And there's also, for any managers, there are 3 exercises that you can run with your team if you have any team events coming up. Click on that. Consensus is going to send me a notification that you clicked on it, and then I'll send you a link. I'm not sure how long that'll take. You can also download it from me, I think, on my LinkedIn. Managers, if you have team events coming up and you are interested in bringing in someone from the outside, I would love to be there in person or virtual. So if you got a QBR or a team event or whatever, we do those types of events. Happy to help out, and I will also help you make the business or budget request to your leadership to do that. Do that regularly. Individual contributors. If you would like to continue learning, we have launched Alpha University. There is a wait list for this, but you can join Alpha University, and I will let you know, my team will let you know when we have cohorts opening up where you can continue to develop your skills. If you want to sign up for the wait list for Alpha University, scan this barcode. If you got a team event coming up and you want to see what it would look like to go and get me on site for a team event for managers, then you can book a call here. Those are the options here for additional things. And then obviously stop by the booth and message me on LinkedIn. I'm super responsive on DMs. So that's what I've got. I guess, Tom, do we have time for any Q&A, or do we need to jump to the to a closing here?
No, we have got time. There's none in the Q&A chat, but if people have got them now, feel free to post them now. Or as you said, Rue, they could maybe swing by your booth and chat with you kind of one-on-one there.
Awesome. Yeah, good stuff. All right, Tom, I guess take it away. Let's close it out here.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. No, that was great, Rue, and thanks for getting me on stage. I'm a very shy wallflower, so I hate being called in to do stuff as well. But that was an amazing session. So we're going to wrap up. I'd like to share a few exciting reminders and announcements. As we said, there is a virtual expo hall. Rue has got a booth there, as well as some of our other premier partners. So yeah, please go and check them out. And they do make it a success for you guys, and they keep it free for you guys as well to attend. Couple of other things. Don't forget, we've got this incredible raffle giveaway. We've got like a PS5, we've got a Yeti cooler, some amazing prizes. So just interact, get on the leaderboard. All the details can be found pinned at the top of the channel from Nicole, and that'll show you how to get into the giveaway. And then finally, we have got Demo Fest New York City, or Demo Fest East Coast, to give it its proper name, coming up. We were in San Francisco in February, which was amazing. Anyone I met in person, that was great. We're going to New York in May, and we're going to be in London in October. I will be live at both. I would love to meet you. You can register to join us at demofest.com, or you can find a link in the docs tab as well. If you're enjoying these virtual sessions, it'd be great to see you live. And as I said, I'm there, and I'd love to connect with you as well. So thanks for joining us. These are the next sessions. You can see them on the top of the board. You'll automatically be pushed to the next session in your track, or you can switch tracks by toggling in the agenda. So thank you very much, and we will see you soon.